Okay, here we go. I'm going to try to explain a little bit better some of my choices for the haplogroup lineages, maybe. So let's go ahead and get started. What do we have here? We'll start with, we'll start with the Simmons Diversity Genome Project. Y chromosome phylogeny. Okay, here we have the different groupings, you can see, if you look close enough here, there's separation of 3 major lineages. Okay, it's the A, B, C, D, and E is one group, and then we have the F, G, H, I, and J is another group. That would be the Semitic group. And we have the Eurasian group, the rest of the groups, which is K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, and T. T being down here. So those are the 3 major human population lineages. There's 3 major lineages. Now, okay, so the main reason what got me started was the C haplogroup, because the C haplogroup is in an area outside of Africa, the same as the D haplogroup is mostly outside of Africa. So, but this one here is what got me started on all these designations, is that I'm thinking what Hamitic haplogroup would be in Asia. It didn't make sense to me. And then I'm thinking, well, Cush was the first king of the world, and he probably had many sons, because they have what they call the House of Nimrod. Doesn't mean a house with 3 rooms. It means the entire family of Nimrod, or descendants, entire group of descendants of Nimrod. Same as the house of David is an entire group of descendants from David. So this is what got me started, because I'm thinking, well, who was Nimrod? So, and then I'm thinking, well, I looked it up. Yeah, Nimrod is the son of Cush, who is the son of Ham. It's Hamitic. So, to me, this rang so clear that this could be the only possible person who could be the father of all the seed descendants, would be the first king of the world, Nimrod. And so, yeah, having the haplogroup description, the verse in the Bible that talks about Nimrod. See if I can bring that up here. There we go. If I don't, have it in the description, then we'll just go ahead and pretend like it's there. So we got Cush fathered Nimrod. He was the first on earth to be a mighty man. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech and Akkad. He was the first king of Accad and Calneh in the land of Shinar, East Mesopotamia. Well, I don't know if this is put in there, this East Mesopotamia. I don't know if that's put in there or if that's just added. Okay, from that land, he went into Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth-Ir, Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah, that is the great city. Between Nineveh and Calah. So, right in the Bible, it says who Nimrod is and what he did and what he was responsible for. He began his kingdom, the beginning of his kingdom, which was a great kingdom, was Babel, Erech, and Accad and Calneh. From there, he went into Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth-Ir, Calah, Resen between Nineveh and Calah. That is the great city. Well, Nineveh was a great city. And I'm guessing it's referring to Nineveh, but I don't know. Anyways, so we can see that Nimrod was a very significant individual. So let's go ahead to the designations here. This is the reason for my choices. Now, we already looked at the three different groups. Now, they have A, B, C, D, and E. Then there's F, G, H, I, and J. Then there's K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, and T. But they try to connect these three groups with S&P markers. And I also explained that as well. Not in the description, but I've explained it before. We have the CF marker. It doesn't mean that C produced F, but it means that C and F had a common ancestor. The same with the IJK marker. It doesn't mean that IJ produced K. It means they had a common ancestor. So they use these markers, S&P markers, to try to say that one descended from the other, but it's clear, I mean, if you know anything about history, that one did not descend from the other, especially when you understand that Nimrod is the C haplogroup. Okay. And it's interesting, too, as I was looking at it, one of the maps was showing that we already knew that Tubal went to Asia, but the other one, which I recently designated Meshach, also went to Asia. The same, like almost exactly the same as Tubal. So they could have gone together as one group. So we have the three groups. There's the Hamitic group, the Semitic group, and the nations, the northern nations, which are Eurasians. So the other thing, of course, would be the Cohen modal haplotype, which is this J1 P58. Now they have a Semitic, a Middle Eastern Semitic, which is correct. But what they aren't saying is that this J1P58 is the Cohen modal haplotype. Yes, it's Semitic, that's correct, because of course the Kohanim are the priests of Israel, because Aaron, the brother of Moses, was the first priest of Israel. So his descendants, all of Aaron's descendants, were obligated to tell their sons that they were descended from Aaron, from the tribe of Levi. So in testing the Kohanim, or the priests of Israel, everyone claiming to be priest of Israel, there were, of course, various haplogroup designations. There was the E, there was the J2, of course, and some of the others. But the one that was almost 50% of the population had this marker, identifying J1P58 as being the descendants of Aaron, which, of course, identified the tribe of Levi. Okay, and then, of course, Levi is one of the sons of Jacob, so it identifies the lineage of Abraham as well, which is descended from Arpachshad. So the IJ lineage, which the whole lineage is IJ, which includes I1, I2, J1, J2. So this is J1 here, J2 is up here, and of course it's throughout here as well. All these are the direct descendants of Arpachshad, and that would include Edomites, Moabites, and all the other nations, such as the Lydians, the Arameans, the Assyrians, and the Elamites. So we have Elamo-Dravidian. Then we come down here, the Dravidian is H. So that was a dead giveaway right there, that H is the haplogroup of the Elamites. So I just went through the process of elimination, identifying each one. The African lineages were a little bit hard because there's a lot of them, and it's a little bit confusing, but after a while I was able to straighten it out, because the Berbers and the Egyptians and a lot of these other ones, like the V32, says Cushitic, but it's really not Cushitic, even though there's probably the influence of Cush there. Because remember, C is the descendant of Nimrod. I mean, the descendants of Nimrod, who is descended from Cush. So the Cush can't be E, because C doesn't branch off from E. The D haplogroup does branch off from E, because the D is a Canaanite lineage. It shows them going up to Tibet first and then on to Japan, but that's not the actual route they took. The actual route they took, which I covered in another video, was that the D first went to China, giving the namesake of the Sino-Tibetan, Sino because it's a tribe of sin. The tribe of sin, or the tribe of Sinim, plural, was the reason for this Sino name for China. So they first went to China, then, according to their dating methods, then they went to Japan, and then they went to Tibet. That was the order of migration of the D haplogroup. And of course, Sinai, well, which the land of sin is over here somewhere, if we look. Of course, there was this tribe of the Sinai tribe in the land of sin that went all the way to China. Okay, so that explains the two Hamitic haplogroups in Asia. The C is descended from Nimrod, which branches off from the A and the B, and the D branches off from the E. But we have the Egyptian is a very large group, so it includes the Berbers. It's all these E3s. E3, M81 Berber, E3, V12 Egyptian, E3, M13. Oh, that's A3. E3, V32. All these E3s are one group, and then there's E2. E2 would be, as far as I can tell, the remnants of Canaan, the Canaanites. E1, which is over here somewhere, E1 would be the original Phoenicians who used to be on the coast, northern coast of Africa, but I guess they migrated all the way down here. So it's E1. E1, and here's E3 way over here, which is Egyptian, right? So it's E1, E2, and E3. E1 would be the descendants of Put, E2, the descendants of Canaan, and E3 is the descendants of Mitzrayim. So E3, of course, Mitzrayim had lots and lots of sons, so this population of E3 is the largest, or pretty much the largest population of the Hamitic descendants. But the A and the B then would be Cush. So we have the A and the B, and then branching off from the A and the B is the C, which is the descendants of Nimrod. So that's how I was able to determine those, but I kind of waited till later to figure those out. But then there's all the northern nations that are the Eurasian nations, the descendants of Japheth. So I got my hit with the R1A because Gomer is known to have gone into Europe. So we have Gomer in Europe. It was Gomer in Europe. And we have the R1A was easy to determine because of the Ashkenazis. So, well, it's kind of mixed here up in Europe, but the Ashkenazi Jews recognized what land they were living in. And they were living in the land of Ashkenaz. That's why they call themselves Ashkenazi, because they recognized the biblical name of Ashkenaz as being the people that they were living among. So that was fairly easy. And Riphath is known to have gone to southern Europe, pretty much. So that was pretty much a given. Ashkenaz, Riphath, and R2. R2 is descendants of Togarma. They have it down here in the southern tip of India, R2, but they're in other places as well. So that wasn't too hard. We have, and of course, the IJ lineage is one lineage. You notice they have the I and the J together here because it's really one lineage that the I separated. And there's two different lineages. There's the I1 and the I2. So the I1 pretty much seemed like it was Dan because they're the ones who went up into Denmark. And they were in other places as well, probably such as Sardinia, Danube, which, well, Danube is over here, which today is mostly I2. But the I2 lineage seems to be a separate lineage and if you look at how they migrated into Europe, there were separate migrations into Europe. So I couldn't really accept that I1 was that all of I was all Dan. Because there's another tribe that went into Europe as well as the tribe of Dan, and that's the tribe of Asher. So I have I2 designated as the tribe descendants of Asher, and I1 the descendants of Dan. And of course, that's me up here, I1 M253, which came from Scotland. So, and of course, doing a Y chromosome test got me interested in the Y chromosome to begin with as well. So the most recent finding is that there was a problem with the O being by itself. Not only was there a problem with the O being by itself, there was an F lineage. The F lineage is not even shown here. Usually they show the F. Where's the F? They show the F. Was everybody going from here? It's probably here somewhere. I just can't see it right now. But it's interesting that some of the older maps show the F, and some of the maps show the K, or some of the they show the K and the F. But the F lineage, well, not the F lineage. I'm thinking of another one. But anyways, the F lineage is a Semitic lineage. Oh, wrong one. Yeah, usually this is how they show it here. They show the F first, then the G, H, I, J, and K. Where's K? K is here. L, M, N, O, P. P is in here somewhere. That's from where and usually they show the P, the R, and the Q coming from the P, but this is not really showing all the information. It's just trying to give you an idea. You have the R1A up here, the R1B here. R1B in Southern Europe, R1A in Scandinavia, and the H going to India. And the L went to India too, which I believe is probably because of the Alexander the Great of Greece wanted to ride elephants, and they brought the L all the way to India. But so that's pretty much how I got started. Another couple interesting things is that I had designated K, just sort of a process of elimination. I had designated K as Tubal, even though it goes all the way to Australia. And the M and the S branch off from K. But I didn't really know that it was in Italy, but someone had said the first inhabitants of Italy, one of the first, were the descendants of Tubal. So I had already designated Tubal as K, so I went and rushed and looked at the genetic makeup of Italy, and to my surprise, there was 8% of central Italy is still K to this day. Then another thing happened is that I had designated the Medes as Q. Of course, the Medes were in this area, and there's Q2 right there. This right here is basically almost where the Medes were. So I designated Q as the Medes, and they said the Q went to Europe. So I went and looked in Europe, and there it is right there. The Q in Europe. So that was a confirmation for me. Oops. Yeah. So that's how I got most of the major ones. Of course, G is Assyrian, and one of the F lineages is Aramean, and the other F lineage is Lydians. The F goes all the way to China too. The reason being is because the Arameans control the trade routes to China. And as far as India, there are inscriptions written both in Chinese and Syriac, which Syriac is a form of Aramean. So all the way, so they control the trade routes all the way over. That's why there's F. A lot of the charts you'll see F in Asia. It starts out in Asia. They have it starting out in Asia. It doesn't start there, but that's what they have it. And here's a Q up here. Of course, there's a Q here. Anyway, so that's how I got started with it. And I just kept refining it. But one of the most recent problems that I had was that there is also a P lineage. I keep confusing it with the F lineage, but the P lineage is missing in a lot of diagrams. But it turns out the P is a fairly significant haplogroup in Europe, or what you call it Eastern Europe is what you call it. So I don't know if I can find it here. Well, I probably got to look it up because I didn't get it. So if you want to be thoroughly confused, you can look at this map here. It's kind of like what I was talking. There's the I there, I2 here, the R1A and the R1B. There's the K. There's the L in India. And there's the H of the Elamites that went to India, the Dravidians. And the C they have going all the way to America this way, but I'm pretty sure that the lineage actually goes through the Mediterranean to cross the Atlantic to Central America, because that's the route that all the other ones took, including the mitochondrial DNA, which was an Asian mitochondrial DNA or Eurasian. But Asia at that time was a lot closer to the Mediterranean. In other words, when the Medes went to conquer Lydia and weren't able to, but the Q goes through the Mediterranean off the coast of Africa right here, to Central America. That's the lineage that the dates show. That it goes up to Lydia, goes through the Mediterranean, off the coast of Africa, and it jumps to Central America and spreads out from there. The Q haplogroup. Now the A, the mitochondrial lineage of the maternal lineages, the daughters of the ancestors, there's a Semitic which accompanied the Q because Madai actually married one of the daughters of Shem, which is a Semitic lineage. So the A accompanies the Q all the way to America, the same route, even though it jumps around more because the mitochondrial lineage jumps around more, but it jumps from Asia to Central America, spreads up north and south from there. The C lineage, which is Eurasian, does the exact same thing, as does the D mitochondrial lineage. The C and the D maternal lineages, they do the exact same thing. They jump from Asia to Central America and spread out north and south from there, which was a big surprise to me because everybody likes to say they crossed the Bering Strait, right? Oh, no, I didn't. I don't know if I can get back. There it is. Because they always say cross the Bering Strait. Well, it's true with the Inuits. They do have a connection to this Q lineage over here for the Inuits is connected. They are connected to Siberia and Eastern Asia, but not the other lineages. The other lineages go to Central America. In fact, the Q lineage goes to these islands first, spreads out here and there, and goes to Central America, spreads north, and spreads south from there. The Q lineage. That's this Q lineage, wherever it is. Not even know if they got the C lineage. Yeah, this Q lineage didn't go this route. It went through the Mediterranean, as I said, off the coast of Africa, landed over here in Central America. That's what the lineage shows, the progression of dates according to their dating methods, which are off, but they're in order of which lineage went where. And it shows them all going to Central America and spreading out from here, which I think the C probably does too, because this is C3, not C2. The one in Pacific is C2. The one in America is C3. And I'm thinking it did the same thing, went through through the Mediterranean, straight across the Atlantic to Central America. And that's when you have the Olmec civilization with the statues where some of them look Asian, some of the statues look more Asian, some of them look sort of Polynesian. But that's because they have the same sea ancestor, which is Nimrod. And so now you know the rest of the story. So anyways, the only one that was on that I could find was the sea in South America, but the sea is not only in South America, it's in North America. So it wasn't a complete lineage that they have uploaded, probably because it would be scandalous, you know. It's not, somebody might have a problem with it. There's the D again. Shows D going around like this. And actually, D actually went, of course, to China first, Japan second, and then to Tibet, according to their way of measuring the dates or the ages of the findings of the samples. Now, it's looking a lot like the Denisovans are partly from this D lineage, but it could be the C too, because the C is up here as well, Mongolia. It's not showing it here, but the C is up in Mongolia as well. But it looks like the strong possibility is that the D haplogroup, that the Denisovans, regardless of what haplogroup they have, they're Eurasian, a mix of Eurasian, because some of it's K and some of it's this new P lineage as well that follows the K, the same pattern as the K. So the P lineage, which I've recently designated as Meshech, which used to be up here in Siberia, is now not Meshech, but it's that would be Magog as well. But the P lineage is over here in Eastern Europe. The P has a strong presence in Eastern Europe, and which is where it should be, and the Magog is supposed to be over here in Eastern Europe as well, and it is with the N lineage. You see the N lineage up here? The Magog is also there now with the remaking of the designations. Okay, but looks like about it. Looks like I might have to drop it off for now. So I'll see everybody soon. And everybody take care and have a great day. And I'll try to keep up. I gotta go now. I just got something to do. God bless everybody. Take care.